What if I told you that the world's most prestigious restaurant rating system was invented by a tire company? Or that a college student once legally tried to claim a $23 million military fighter jet from a soda company, and almost won? These aren't myths. These aren't movies. These actually happened. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at a Michelin star or a Pepsi can the same way again. Picture France. The year is 1900. The streets smell like horse manure, bread, and possibility. It's the Belle Époque, the beautiful era. Painters are painting, writers are writing, and life in Paris feels electric. But for anyone crazy enough to own an automobile, it's an absolute nightmare. There are only about 3,000 cars in the entire country. Gasoline is sold in tiny bottles at pharmacies, like some kind of exotic medicine. Roads, as we know them today, simply don't exist. Just mud, rocks, and the occasional nail from a horseshoe. In a small industrial city called Clermont-Ferrand, two brothers are watching all of this unfold with great interest. Their names are André and Edouard Michelin, and they own a rubber factory that makes tires. Here's their problem. Nobody is buying tires because nobody is driving anywhere. Why would you buy a car if you can barely make it to the bakery down the street? The brothers sat down and asked themselves one very important question. How do you make people want to travel? And then they had an idea. A brilliantly simple, borderline crazy idea. They created a small red book, a travel guide, and they gave it away for free. No recipes from Michelin star restaurants. Not yet. This was practical stuff. Gas station locations, tire changing instructions, public restroom addresses, and, most importantly, a list of decent places to eat and sleep along the way. The logic was elegant. If there's a great little inn 300 miles from Paris, people will drive there. They'll wear out their tires. And they'll need new ones. Michelin sells tires. Michelin makes money. They printed 35,000 copies of the very first guide in 1900 and handed them out to drivers across France. For 20 years, the guide was just a useful little booklet. Helpful, but not exactly legendary. Then one day, André Michelin walked into an auto repair shop and stopped dead in his tracks. His precious red guide, the one his company had poured resources into, was being used to prop up a workbench, covered in grease, being treated like trash. He was furious. And in that fury, he understood something profound about human psychology. People don't value what they get for free. Starting in 1920, the guide became paid. They removed all advertising, and they hired a team of secret inspectors, anonymous agents who visited restaurants disguised as ordinary customers, paid their own bills, and took detailed notes on everything. The quality of the sauce, the temperature of the soup, whether the forks were clean, the attitude of the waiter. From this obsessive attention to detail, a legendary system was born. 1 star, a very good restaurant in its category, worth a stop if you're nearby. 2 stars, excellent cooking, worth a detour from your planned route. 3 stars, exceptional cuisine, worth a special journey, plan your entire trip around it. Think about the genius of this for a moment. A company that sells tires is telling you, this soup is so incredible that you should drive 600 miles to taste it. And yes, you'll absolutely destroy your tires getting there. The world believed them. Chefs began losing their minds over these stars. Restaurants closed when they lost even 1. Grown men with decades of culinary experience broke down in tears over a rating from anonymous tire company inspectors. In 2003, renowned French chef Bernard Loiseau shot himself after rumors spread that his restaurant might lose a star. The pressure had become that unbearable. The little red booklet had become the Bible of taste. Today, the Michelin Guide covers dozens of countries and thousands of restaurants worldwide. It has expanded to Tokyo, New York, Bangkok, and beyond. And it all started because two brothers from a rubber factory in central France needed people to drive more. The greatest marketing trick in history. Don't sell your product. Sell the dream of a journey that makes your product necessary. Next time you see that chubby white tire man, the Michelin man, on a restaurant door, remember, he's not there because the food is good. He's there because two brothers understood human curiosity better than almost anyone in history. Fast forward to America, 1996. The cola wars are in full swing. Coca-Cola and Pepsi are spending hundreds of millions of dollars trying to convince teenagers that carbonated sugar water is the key to being cool. Pepsi launches a new campaign called Drink Pepsi, Get Stuff. The idea is simple. Collect points from Pepsi products, trade them in for merchandise. A t-shirt, 75 points. A leather jacket, 1,450 points. Pepsi sunglasses, 175 points. And then, at the end of the commercial, something extraordinary happens. A teenager flies onto his school parking lot in a fully operational AV-8 Harrier Jump Jet, a military aircraft capable of vertical takeoffs used by the US Marines. The text on screen reads, "Harrier Fighter Jet, 7 million Pepsi points." A voice says, "Drink Pepsi, get stuff." Everyone laughed. Great joke, very American, very over the top. Everyone except one person. His name was John Leonard. He was 21 years old, a business student, and John Leonard did not laugh. John Leonard got out his calculator. He knew that collecting 7 million Pepsi points by actually drinking Pepsi was physically impossible. You'd be dead from sugar long before you hit halfway. But John found something buried in the fine print of the promotion. If you had at least 15 genuine Pepsi points, you could purchase additional points for just 10 cents each. John's calculator started working overtime. To buy the remaining 6,999,985 points at 10 cents each, that's $699,998.50. Add 15 real points from actual Pepsi bottles, 15 cents, plus a $10 handling fee. Total cost, $700,008.50. The Harrier Jump Jet had a market value of approximately $23 million. Any reasonable person would have shrugged and gone back to studying. John Leonard was not any reasonable person. He found 5 investors willing to back him. He raised the money, and he mailed an envelope to Pepsi headquarters in New York. Inside, 15 real Pepsi points, a check for $700,008.50, and a handwritten note that read, "Please send me my Harrier jet." Pepsi's legal team thought it was a prank. They sent John a letter back, polite but firm. Essentially, "Haha, good one, kid. Here are some coupons for free Pepsi. The jet was a joke, a metaphor. Relax." John Leonard did not relax. John Leonard hired a lawyer and filed a lawsuit against PepsiCo Incorporated. The case? Leonard versus PepsiCo. What followed was one of the most bizarre legal battles in American corporate history. It was a media circus. News crews camped outside the courthouse. Late-night hosts made jokes. Law school professors started using the case in class. Pepsi's legal team argued, the commercial was clearly a joke. No reasonable person could interpret a military fighter jet as a legitimate prize. You cannot legally land a Harrier on a school campus. The advertisement contained no formal offer. John's lawyers shot back. There was no disclaimer, no asterisk, no fine print saying, "This is fictional." Pepsi said 7 million points. My client has 7 million points. Where is the jet? The trial lasted 3 years. In 1999, federal judge Kimba Wood delivered her ruling. She sided with Pepsi. Her reasoning: the commercial was so obviously absurd that no reasonable person could have interpreted it as a genuine offer. A Harrier jet is a weapon of war. No company could legally give one to a consumer. The entire premise was a fantasy. John Leonard got his money back, but he did not get his jet. Here's where it gets delicious. Pepsi, clearly shaken by the whole ordeal, quietly pulled the original commercial. Then they re-released it, with one small change. The price of the Harrier jet was updated to 700 million Pepsi points. 700 million. Just to make absolutely sure no other finance student with a calculator and a dream would show up at their offices with a check. But here's the real legacy of John Leonard. Leonard versus PepsiCo is now a famous case taught in contract law and marketing classes at universities across the United States. This 21-year-old kid who mailed a check to a soda company became a permanent footnote in American legal history. He didn't get the jet, but he proved something far more valuable: that if you read the rules carefully enough, truly, obsessively carefully, you might just find something everyone else missed. And that's worth more than a fighter jet. 2 stories, 2 companies, 2 moments where someone looked at the world differently than everyone else. The Michelin brothers didn't sell tires. They sold the romance of the open road. John Leonard didn't drink soda. He read the fine print. Both of them changed history in ways nobody expected. If you made it to the end of this video, drop a comment and tell me, which story shocked you more? The tire company that became the food world's judge, or the student who almost got away with a fighter jet? Like this video if you want more stories like this. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one, because trust me, the next one is just as insane.